WFM 91.7.
A very beautiful morning to you. Thank you so much for staying with us, for joining us this morning on Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is 7 minutes after 10 right here. I hope that you're doing great. I hope you're feeling good today. I hope that you're feeling very healthy. All right, so you're welcome to the program Radio Doctor right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Radio Doctor is your free health consultation program where real doctors advise real people. Radio Doctor is Nigeria's first specialized health program where medical doctors consult for free and advise on radio right here on Women Radio. Now, Radio Doctor comes to you 10 a.m. Mondays through Fridays. All right, now General Health today on Radio Doctor is supported by Zenith Pharmaceutical. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser, and of course our Radio Doctor for today is Dr. Alozie Ndobuka, a medical director at St. Ives Family Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Ndobuka. How have you been?
Good morning, Rose. I'm doing very well, and you?
I'm okay. We missed you last week, so how has the break been?
Well, it's been all right. You know, as they say, all work but no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Okay, all right. Coming from a medical expert, we'll definitely get it heads on. Since you've been talking to us about stress, so it's only, good that sometimes you take a step back and just relax a bit.
Yes. The doctor has to, it's not a case of do as I say, but it should also be a case of
do as I do. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndobuka. We're very excited to have you this morning on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Dr. Ndobuka today on Radio Doctor will be consulting and advising on heat exhaustion. Yes, you heard me, heat exhaustion. So you'll be wondering, what is heat exhaustion? What is this all about? Every day we could just hear new things. Anyway, don't worry, just calm down. The doctor is here and is going to consult and advise on heat exhaustion. All right, now to be a part of the program, you can dial 07000 917 917, send a text or a WhatsApp message to 070-317-56537. You can also follow us up on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at WFM 917. Download our mobile app, WFM 917 from Play Store, Apple Store. You can also log on to our website, www.wfm917.com. All right, so you can follow us all on the social media platforms and we'll definitely be there, and you can get to listen to us from any part of the world from the website and of course from our mobile from the when you get to download from Play Store or from Apple Store, will definitely be there with you. All right, so this is Radio Doctor right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7.
Malaria, a double punch of artesunate and ammonia queen. An effective combination that Camosunator. There's anti-malaria therapy. And you will bounce back to life. Comes in 4 different packs for different age groups. Below 1 year, 1 to 6 years, 7 to 13 years, 14 and above.
Camosunate, effective anti-malaria for all ages. Marketed by Zenith Pharmaceuticals Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please see your doctor. Read the leaflet inside.
You're welcome back to Radio Doctor right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is your free health consultation program where real doctors advise real people. This is Nigeria's first specialized health program where medical doctors consult for free and advise right here on Women Radio. So yes, my name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser and I have Dr. Alozie Ndobuka, a medical director at St. Ives Family Hospital. And of course, he is a consultant today and advising on heat exhaustion. And of course, General Health on Radio Doctor today is supported by Zenith Pharmaceutical. All right, Dr. Ndobuka, let's get onto it so that we get to understand what heat exhaustion is. So let's start with it. What is heat exhaustion?
Yes, Rose, this is a very interesting topic today. was it last week or so, we had this heat wave that occurred in Nigeria, and the weather was so hot. I could see a lot of people struggling through the heat. And I actually came across a patient who had this heat exhaustion. Now, many people do not know that we have illnesses that are regarded medically as heat-related illnesses. Heat-related illnesses. They are called heat-related illnesses because they have their origin in heat, and they are the outcome of being in a hot, uncomfortable environment. Now, among the heat-related illnesses, in terms of severity, are things like heat rash. Heat rash is a skin problem that comes about through because of heat. Then sunburn is another one. Then heat cramps is another.
Heat cramps.
Heat cramps, yes. Okay. Cramps is another. Then heat exhaustion is another. And finally, the most serious of them all is heat stroke. Today we are looking at heat exhaustion, which is serious but not as terrible as heat stroke. Heat stroke, obviously, as I said, is the most serious and can lead to death. But heat exhaustion is a precursor to heat stroke. Precursor in the sense that before heat stroke occurs, the person would have gotten exhausted with heat, would have had experienced some form of heat exhaustion before the heat stroke occurs. Now, to your question, what is heat exhaustion? Now, heat exhaustion happens when your body overheats. That's when your body overheats, gets too hot, and cannot cool itself. We say, oh, this person is having heat exhaustion. Now, the body can overheat through so many ways. It can overheat during exercise or physical activity, especially if you are exercising or engaging in this physical activity in a hot and humid weather. Now, during physical activity, your body loses fluid. This is natural. And for all of us, anytime we are engaged in a physical activity or we're in a hot environment, the body loses fluid through sweat. It is natural because the body has what we call a core temperature which has to be maintained. That core temperature is dependent really on the body's own temperature and external temperatures around the body. And it has to be maintained at a certain level. And what the body does is that the body has a temperature regulating mechanism. When you are in a hot place or you engage in physical activity, and your body starts heating up beyond that core temperature, what your body does is your body causes you to sweat. So you sweat. By sweating, you have fluid on your skin. So this fluid on your skin stays on your skin and uses your body's heat to evaporate. And by using the heat within your body to evaporate, it cools down your body. And when it cools down your body, the person's body temperature comes down and the person feels all right. This is what happens in nature. This is what happens in nature. Now, this nature, for this to keep on happening effectively, and repeatedly, that means that once a person cools down and loses this water through body fluid, the person needs to replace that body fluid. And that's why you notice that anytime you sweat a lot, you tend to feel thirsty.
Yes.
So that test that you're feeling is your body's way of calling for you to replace the fluid it has lost while sweating. Now, if for whatever reason you are unable to replace this fluid, causing you to become dehydrated to some extent, your body over time would reduce its sweating because your body knows that, oh, look, I don't have enough fluid within me. I've been losing it through sweating. And my owner has refused to drink water. And if I continue to lose fluid, I will collapse. So when this happens, the body is now unable to release more sweat. And by being unable to release more sweat, the body becomes unable to further cool itself when it's in a hot environment. And this builds up heat within the body. And that ultimately can cause heat exhaustion. Now, today we are going to learn so many things about heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
But the most important thing we should ask ourselves is, what are the symptoms of heat exhaustion? How do this person A know that, oh, I'm having heat exhaustion? What should you look out for to be able to suspect that, oh, this could be heat exhaustion? We are going to talk about that. But one important point I want to make, and which will be our guiding point throughout this discussion, is the point of saying that heat exhaustion basically is caused by exposure to high temperature. Particularly when that high temperature also is in the presence of high humidity and strenuous physical activity. That's one point I want to make, and we are going to depend on this point throughout this discussion. Another thing I want to say is that, as I said earlier on, heat exhaustion could ultimately lead to heat stroke, and heat stroke, of course, is life-threatening.
Yeah,
it's life-threatening. So now, what symptoms do we look out for? What happens for us to suspect, oh, I could become heat exhausted? Amongst the things we should look out for is, amongst the symptoms, are heavy sweating. When the individual sweats excessively. So that is a very important point. So if you, in the course of your day-to-day activity, you find yourself sweating so much, you should be careful. You should be mindful of the possibility of the likelihood of heat exhaustion coming up anytime soon. Now, if you also start feeling dizzy, feeling fainty, as if you want to faint, feeling so tired, those are symptoms of heat exhaustion. You are feeling exhausted, tired. You could be having early symptoms of heat exhaustion. Then, when you are when you have very rapid pulse, and how do you know that you may have rapid pulse? You could even know by your heart. You might feel your heart beating so fast. Feel your heart beating so fast. You might feel yourself being breathless. These are symptoms of a possible heat exhaustion. You might feel that dizziness I talked about, which I said you could feel dizzy. That dizziness might even be a sign of your blood pressure going down, because when you lose a lot of water through sweating, that means your blood volume will go down, because part of that sweat that you sweated, the water from the sweat could have come from your blood. And if that water came from your blood and you lost it through sweating, then that means your blood volume will go down. And when your blood volume goes down, your blood pressure will likewise go down. And that will make you dizzy, that will make you uncomfortable. And that could even start getting you confused and irritable. These are symptoms of heat exhaustion. You become easily irritable, you become confused, and sometimes you even become, so there are some people who show signs of aggression as a symptom of heat exhaustion. So you have headache, you have nausea, sometimes even vomiting, and you could also have muscle cramp. So anytime you have these symptoms, the best and wisest thing to do is you stop physical activity, because physical activity generates more heat. You find a place, sit down and rest. If it's possible, you can lie down and raise your legs up. Lying down and raising the legs up helps to improve your blood pressure, because it causes blood to return from your low extremities, as the legs, back towards the heart. And with the heart receiving more blood, the heart will have more to pump out, and with more to pump out, the blood pressure will go back up. If you feel that you're having this, you should also move to a place that is cold, a cooler place. And a cooler place could be as simple as going under a shade, a tree shade, or even a shade of a building, so that the sun won't be hitting on you. It could, if you are in an environment where there's an air-conditioned room, it could be also entering that chilled air-conditioned room. You could drink cold water, and other things. You could also, even as simple as removing your clothes. Remove your clothes. This removing your clothes or loosening what you are wearing will help you cool down. Then one of my favorites is you having a cold bath. Having a cold bath. If you can, soak yourself in a cold bath and relax. Well, while doing all these things, it is also very important. In fact, it can be considered as critical for you to make sure that you take as much water as possible. Drinking water, or if you can afford it and it's available, you can get any of the sports drinks, which sports people use a lot. I can't start mentioning brands now, since we are not advertising for any company.
Yes.
So you get these sports drinks, you take them as much as possible, and you'll notice that you start getting better. But one key thing here is that if after doing all these things you are not getting better, your symptoms seem to be getting worse, or they are lasting longer than it should, then it is time to go see a doctor. If you can't manage to do it by yourself, ask a loved one, a friend, to assist you. A friend, a family member to assist you to the hospital. Or if you have a loved one who you feel might be undergoing some form of heat exhaustion, then please assist that person to go to the hospital. So now, I'm going to yield the floor to you.
Okay.
But before I yield the floor to you, I want to highlight one or two important things I said before. I started by trying to let you understand how our body cools itself. I said that in hot weather, your body cools itself mainly through sweating. Now, the evaporation of your sweat helps your body to regulate its temperature. But anytime you exercise strenuously or you overexert yourself in a hot, humid weather, your body becomes less efficient cooling itself. And this can result in heat building up within your body. This heat building up within your body can ultimately lead you to heat exhaustion. And have some of those symptoms I described. And heat exhaustion, the complication of heat exhaustion when you don't take care of it is it can progress to a life-threatening situation called heat stroke, which can damage your brain, damage vital organs within your body, organs like your kidney, your liver, and indeed even your muscles and other parts of your body. So it is very important that we note this. It's also very important that we understand that certain conditions can predispose you to a higher risk of heat exhaustion. One of those conditions is if you are dehydrated and if you use excessive alcohol. Then people who are younger than 4 years and above 65 years are also more likely to suffer from heat exhaustion, because people younger than 4 years have not fully developed, their body have not fully developed the ability to properly regulate temperature by itself. And people who are older than 65, also their body, because of various illnesses, various challenges, and various shutdowns of the body, the body has gradually lost its ability to control temperature. Then another group of people who could be at risk are people on certain medications, and this is very important. If you have heat exhaustion and you get to the hospital, please be sure to tell your doctor the type of drugs you have. You are using drugs like diuretics, drugs sometimes used in treating blood pressure can predispose you to a higher risk of heat exhaustion. Drugs used in treating psychiatric ailments, and even substance abuse drugs, hard drugs, all these cocaine, amphetamines, and coke can predispose you to have this to a higher risk of heat exhaustion. Then other things that can predispose you to a greater risk is obesity, when you have excessive weight. Last week, in my absence, I listened to a very interesting program. You and your guest, who you nicknamed Yinka, did on
weights and
women and weight. And she told you a lot of her experiences. But here you were talking basically about societal discrimination against such people. But one thing that such people also go through is they go through a higher risk of so many other things, and one of such risks is heat exhaustion, increased risk of having, they are more likely, more prone to becoming heat exhausted when they face similar situations as people who are of normal weight. So these are some of the things that can predispose you. And today we'll talk about how do we treat, how do we prevent, and everything. But for now, I will yield the floor to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndubuka, for giving us a rundown of what heat exhaustion is all about. This is Women Radio WFM 91.7, and of course, this is the program Radio Doctor.
Give malaria a double punch of Protestanate and ammonia queen. An effective combination that Camosunate is anti-malaria therapy. And you will bounce back to life. Comes in 4 different packs for different age groups. Below 1 year, 1 to 6 years, 7 to 13 years, 14 and above.
Camosunate, effective anti-malaria for all ages. Marketed by Zenith Pharmaceuticals Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please see your doctor. Read the leaflet inside.
You're Welcome back to Radio Doctor on Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is Nigeria's first radio station for women and their families. And of course, this is your free health consultation program where real doctors advise real people. This is 28 minutes to 11 right here. And of course, we have Dr. Aluodun Ndubuka, medical director at St. Ives Family Hospital, and he is consulting and advising on heat exhaustion. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser, and today's general health on Radio Doctor is supported by Zenith Pharmaceutical. All right, now Dr. Ndubuka has said a lot about heat exhaustion. If you have questions, you have concerns, you can call in with the number 07000 917 917. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. All right, so these are the numbers to get in touch with us this morning. Let's get to hear your thoughts, your concerns, your questions on heat exhaustion. Dr. Ndubuka is here, and he has given us a rundown on heat exhaustion this morning. This is Women Radio WFM 91.7. Okay, so the phone lines are now open. You can call in 07000 917 917. Send a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. You're connected. All right, then do what to call us back right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Let's get to hear your thoughts, your concerns, and your questions on heat exhaustion. Dr. Ndubuka is here and is ready to advise you accordingly and appropriately on heat exhaustion this morning. So it's all up to you. 07000 917 917.
Malaria, a double punch of Contesumate and Ammonia Queen. An effective combination that Camosunator. There's anti-malaria therapy. And you will bounce back to life. Comes in 4 different parts, 4 different age groups. Below 1 year, 1 to 6 years, 7 to 13 years, 14 and above. Camosunator.
Camosunate, effective anti-malaria for all ages. Marketed by Zenith Pharmaceuticals Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please see your doctor. Read the leaflet inside.
Thank you so much for staying with us right here on Radio Doctor. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. This is Yusuf Olamile. I'm calling from Alakoko, Lagos.
All right, Yusuf, you're welcome from Alakoko. How are you today, Yusuf?
I'm fine. All
right, go ahead.
Let me first greet my doctor. The way he normally simplify the topic that even just ordinary somebody who has never been to school, we understand everything. So may God continue to strengthen him. I love it. So my question is this: concerning the use of body cream, I discovered that most times when I use cream going to work, I do sweat. On that day, I discovered the way I sweat is always different from when I don't rub cream. Then number 2, there are some foods like pepper. When you eat them, and food that are rich in all this Yoruba pepper food. So when you eat them, you discover that the way you sweat. So are there conditions to be that can be avoided or that one needs to worry about? That's my question.
All right. Thank you so much, Yusuf, for calling. I'm sure that
You're welcome.
Dr. Ndubuka will definitely attend to you. Thank you. All right, Dr. Ndubuka, you've heard from our first caller today, Yusuf. Should I repeat the questions or you heard them well?
Oh, no, I heard clear and loud and clear.
Okay.
Now, let me start by thanking Leko. I thank Leko for his kind words. And I'm happy learning that at least people out there are learning medicine through our efforts.
Yes.
Now, regarding the question, he gave two very interesting and very true statements. He made two very interesting and true statements. The issue of certain creams causing you to sweat more, and also the issue of pepper causing you to sweat more. Now, let me start with pepper. One of the things most people would have observed is that when you eat peppery food, especially if that food is hot, hot and peppery, you tend to sweat more. So his question is, what could have caused this? What is the reason behind this? Now, peppery is spicy. So when you take spicy food, the first thing it does, it sends a signal of a form of pain to your brain. And your brain reacts by increasing fluid to go to the extremities, thereby, pepper, first and foremost, the best way to understand it is that pepper sends an uncomfortable signal. So that uncomfortable signal of, oh, this is so peppery, the brain diverts blood from the gastrointestinal tract towards the skin as a way of avoiding too much absorption of that peppery substance. And that diversion of blood from the gastrointestinal tract towards the skin causes dilatation of blood vessels on the skin. And when blood vessels dilate, they tend to lose fluid. And when you lose fluid, on the skin, it comes out as sweating. That's why you tend to sweat more, because your brain interprets that pepper as heat. That pepper causes heat to that it's interpreted as heat to the brain, and that's why you sweat more. Now, the issue of cream, when you apply cream during hot weather, when the weather is hot and you apply cream, you are blocking certain, you are putting a layer of foreign substance on your body. And that layer of foreign substance on your body reduces access of air to your skin. So it's like, we've talked before about sunscreen. Yeah, cream becomes air screen. It's screening off air from your skin for that moment before your skin absorbs components of the cream. So when you block air to your body during hot weather, you tend to sweat more. Your body interprets this. So your body interprets you applying cream to your body as putting on an extra layer of cloth. That's what happens. So that interpretation, this person has put on an extra layer of cloth while I am feeling hot. It's what your body makes of you applying cream during hot weather, and your body reacts to it through sweating. So those are the two reasons why you sweat when you eat pepper, and also when you apply
cream. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ndubuka, for that explanation. Okay, so John from Ojudubega sent in a message, and he says, "Good morning, doctor. Please, what is the effect of excessive sweating or not sweating at all?" That's his question. John from Ojudubega.
Now, you see, throughout today, when we've been talking about sweating, we've been talking about losing body fluid. But one thing we have not even mentioned is that it's not just body fluid that you lose. You also lose essential minerals within the body. Things like sodium is lost in the body. And sodium, for example, is a very key part in maintaining the both intracellular pressure and extracellular pressure. And of course, for you to maintain your blood pressure, you need adequate amount of sodium within your system. So you are losing both water and essential minerals each time you sweat. So when you sweat excessively, you lose a lot of this. Sodium, potassium, chloride, all of them. And these have their own effect on their body. One of the most common effects, as I said before, is your blood pressure starts going down. And of course, with the low blood pressure comes things like dizziness, feeling fainty, having headache, and also at the extreme, feeling confused and even loss of consciousness. Then, when you also lose fluid and electrolytes, you become dehydrated. And dehydration has its own effects on the body. When you are dehydrated, that means the cells of your body will not have adequate water, adequate fluids to engage in day-to-day metabolism. So cells of various parts of your body could start shutting down. Take, for example, cells of your kidneys could be quite negatively impacted. Your kidneys won't be able to get rid of waste product because your kidney needs enough fluid to be able to flush waste from its system. So waste accumulates within your body. And this waste that accumulates within your body poisons your cells. So that is it. So sweating excessively is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. If you are sweating excessively, you should move to a cold place. You should try and take in more fluid. And that will help you. And you should also try to see the doctor, because there are people who will tell me, doctor, I sweat so much, even when I'm not doing anything, even when people around me are not sweating. Such people should see their doctor. Why? Because such people could have certain ailments, things like hyperthyroidism. Their thyroid glands may be producing excessive thyroid hormones, which will cause their body to overheat itself, which will cause your body to even sweat when there's no need to sweat. So such people should see a doctor for proper check and proper investigation and also proper medical advice.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndubuka, for giving your advice to John. I know, Dr. Ndubuka, that we've not even talked about prevention and treatment of heat exhaustion. But I think this one coming from our listeners, I'm sure that they are quite curious about some of these questions they are asking, and it's better to actually, not to leave them hanging. All right, this one says, it's coming from Idris. It says, good morning, I'm Idris. Whenever I bend down carrying out activities, irrespective of the time, once I get up, my eye diesels for some seconds as if the whole surrounding is turning 360. I have been experiencing this for years. I complained about this to my doctor, but he told me I'm okay. What could be the cause of this?
Okay, from his description, this sounds very much like postural hypotension. Postural hypotension. Now, you see, our body is such a unique machine. The human body is a beautifully crafted machine that works together for our good. Now, each time you lie down, or you stand up, or you sit down, or you bend, or change your position, suddenly, fluid moves around your body, and your body's system tries to adjust its pressure, the pressure within the circulatory system, to match your present position. So now, a body that is effective enough will always, through release of hormones like adrenaline, cortisol, and so much, and so forth, and so a body that is effective will always try to regulate this pressure no matter what your position is. But when you start noticing that when you either bend down and straighten yourself, you feel dizzy, or when you lie down and get up suddenly, you feel dizzy, or when you sit down and stand up, you feel dizzy, that means that regulatory mechanism within your body is beginning to fail. And it can fail as a result of so many things. It can fail either because you are dehydrated, it can fail either because you have one ailment or the other that is affecting movement of fluid between both your intracellular and extracellular spaces. It can fail because you are on a particular medication that is not allowing adequate blood flow or adequate regulation of blood pressure. So it can fail because of so many of such factors. So my advice to the person that sent in this message is that we need to investigate him properly to find out why is his blood pressure not responding to changes in his posture. Why is he experiencing these symptoms of postural hypotension? So he should please go see a doctor, go to a hospital so that checks will be done. When he gets to the hospital, then they are going to check his blood pressure. They are going to check his blood pressure both when sitting and when standing. The doctor would most likely listen to his heart to see the quality of his heartbeat, and by so doing, to check to see if there's any pathology within his heart, any problem within the heart. The doctor might decide, depending on his judgment, to run certain tests on him, like doing an ECG, which is an electrocardiogram, an electrical study of his heart. Then the doctor could also, in his wisdom, run certain tests on him, tests that will check to see what are the functions of his kidney. Is his renal function adequate? Because a poorly functioning kidney can also predispose you to things like postural hypotension. So these are some of the things. But whatever is causing his problem, at the end of the doctor's interview, investigations, the doctor will be able to prepare treatment. Will be able to tell him. And treatment could range from either lifestyle changes or to the use of drugs. Doctor might recommend some medications for him which will help him get better.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndobuka, for giving Idris so many options. Okay, because he said that his doctor has told him there's nothing. He's okay. He can continue, but getting a second opinion won't matter. And Dr. Ndobuka,
oh yes, in fact, Rose, you took it right out of my mouth. If you feel convinced you have a problem, and you see a doctor, and the doctor assures you that there's no problem, but you still feel that there's a problem, then it's always wise to get a second opinion. Always remember, nobody knows it all.
Yes.
No doctor knows everything. No doctor in the world. I don't care how good the doctor is. The best of doctors also have what they don't know. Also have those areas where they might not be strong in. Yeah. So if you do not get satisfaction from one doctor, it's always wise seeing a second doctor. And a good doctor, a wise doctor will not feel offended that you sought a second opinion. It's only a doctor that lacks confidence in himself, or a doctor that does not know his work, or does not know his medicine, that will feel offended that you have gone to seek second opinion. As a doctor, I meet patients every day, and there are some patients I meet and I may not really know what to do with such patients. And that is why we have a tool called referral. Because when I see such patients and I feel, I am not well suited to deal with this particular case, I refer the patient. A good doctor should not be a proud doctor. Okay. Because pride comes before a fall. When you feel too proud, I know everything, then you will make mistakes with your patient. So your patient has the right to seek a second opinion. And even you as a doctor, it is your duty to encourage your patient to seek a second opinion if you feel that your patient's complaints do not fall within areas of your strength.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Ndobuka, for adding that. I'm also a good student, Dr. Ndobuka. You give me my flowers too.
Oh, in fact, you are an excellent student. I think when next I go on leave, I will call you to come and take over my position.
All right, let's take that one step at a time. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ndobuka, for giving your advice on that. This is Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is the program Radio Doctor.
Malaria, a double punch of artesunate and ammonia queen. An effective combination that Camosunate. There's anti-malaria therapy. And you will bounce back to life. Comes in 4 different parts, 4 different age groups. Below 1 year, 1 to 6 years, 7 to 13 years, 14 and above.
Camosunate, effective anti-malaria for all ages. Marketed by Zenith Pharmaceuticals Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please see your doctor. Read the leaflet inside.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. And of course, this is the Radio Doctor on your free health consultation program where real doctors advise real people. And we have been speaking with Dr. Aliazin Ndobuka, of course, and he has been advising and, consulting on heat exhaustion. So, Dr. Ndobuka, our time is fast spent as it is. Now, let's quickly have maybe your final words on heat exhaustion, because I think we would have to continue this some other time, because we've not even touched a lot in terms of the heat exhaustion. So, but with your advice, we want to continue this maybe some other time at when you're comfortable with this. But for now, let's have your final words quickly on heat exhaustion, so that we could just close up the program with that. Maybe 1 or 2 advice that you could just drop for our listener in terms of heat exhaustion.
Yes. Now, my final words go this way. We should remember that wise saying that prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in a hot environment, do not wait until you get heat exhausted before you do something. Take precautionary measures. We live in a hot country.
Yeah.
We sometimes stay in humid environments, which adds to the effect of this heat within our society. So what we should always do is, if you feel you're going to expose yourself to heat, you should make sure that you always have with you a lot of water, a lot of fluid. Water, or preferably sports drinks. Always have that with you, and drink. Take sips from time to time. Even when you're not feeling thirsty, you take sips to replenish whatever you're losing in sweat. You should also try to wear something that is light and loose fitting. Light and loose fitting. If you are within your house, you can remove your clothes. Don't put on anything at all. Remove your clothes so that you don't. The clothes do not cause you to have too much heat. Then you should also make sure that you try to have cool bath anytime you are beginning to get hot. One of the major problems we have, and especially amongst the younger ones, the group of people called the Gen Zs. Gen Zs is this issue of always having their bath with hot water. I have no problem with having bath with hot water. I do take hot water most of the time. But the difference between myself and most other people is that I have access to air-conditioned environments, air-conditioned house, air-conditioned car, air-conditioned office. So I can afford to bath hot water. But when there's no access to this, especially in this hot weather, like take for example, if there's no light and you don't want to put on your generator because of the cost of fuel, and the weather is hot, there's no need having your bath with that hot water. You're heating your body up.
Okay.
So you have your bath with the cold water. Then do not, I say this very importantly, do not lock up anyone, particularly children, in cars, in hot cars. I remember about 3 years ago, I encountered a lady who locked up her 3 children in a car at the Ikeja City Mall.
Yes.
I came out having gone for shopping, and I saw these children. They were crying inside the car. I had to call the attention of security men, and we were in the process of trying to break the glass of the car before the lady now came running out from where she went to. And I remember telling her, I said, you don't do that. It doesn't matter whether you want to spend just 1 minute buying something inside. You don't wind up this thing and lock your children up in a car exposed to sun. So that is it. So once we avoid all this, we are less likely to becoming heat exhausted. So I wish all our listeners all the best. And I wish you to always remember that prevention is better than cure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alozie Ndubuka, for being a part of our program today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So have a great day and enjoy the rest of the week.
Oh, same to you.
All right, so that's it for today on Radio Doctor. Today's General Health on Radio Doctor is supported by Janet Pharmaceuticals. Thank you for your calls and for always being there with us on Radio Doctor on Women Radio WFM 91.7. All right, so join us again tomorrow at 10 a.m. where we'll bring you the program Radio Doctor. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Do keep your dial locked to Women Radio WFM 91.7. Good morning.
WFM 91.7.